There are certain things I love to do that are also good for my health, like shopping.
Bestmed Medical Scheme. Better living, better life.
Welcome back as we get into medical matters, the part of the process that you should be handling yourself, and that's your medical scheme, your medical aid, your medical insurance. Tricky waters to navigate. We are being educated by Bestmed Medical Schemes. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Elnarie. We started our education with a broader sweep of the industry and what a medical scheme is. Now we're going to get into some of that jargon that we have to know to be able to look after ourselves in the process. And that's really where it all begins, is empowering with knowledge. What do we need to know? What are those key pieces of information or jargon that we need to know so that we can enter this process effectively?
Correct. You know, there are so many things, and people tend to be overwhelmed with medical schemes. And I think one of the first things that you need to establish is, which medical scheme am I allowed to join? There are two types of medical schemes that you can join. You've got an open medical scheme and you've got a closed medical scheme. Open, of course, gives you the idea immediately that it is open for anyone from the public to join. And no one can tell you not to join it. On closed medical schemes, you've got to work for a particular organisation to belong to one of those medical schemes.
Okay, that's simple enough. One piece of jargon that keeps coming up is gap cover. Can you explain to us exactly what that means? One would have to assume that that covers us for a period where we wouldn't assume that we are being covered, yeah?
That's right. Gap cover is actually something that is outside the regulatory environment of medical schemes. So it's not something that is offered to you by your medical scheme, but it's a short-term product. What happens is that medical schemes have scheme tariffs that we pay claims at. So we negotiate either with service providers, and we have our set tariffs for the year normally that we pay at a specific rate. And when members are admitted to hospital, then some of the surgeons and especially the anaesthetists can charge more than the scheme tariff. And that is normally when members become out of pocket then, you know, and they've got to foot a bill that they didn't plan on doing.
And often a rather big bill.
It can be a very big bill, because they can charge up to anything. There's no ceiling on what the surgeons or the anaesthetists can charge for these services. So what you do is that you've got your medical scheme product, and the scheme will cover your scheme tariff on any claims that you might have in hospital, and the gap cover product will then pay the difference on that claim, of course, up to the limit that they also stipulate.
Okay. Where do we start? What is the first step in this process if I want to, with Bestmed Medical Schemes, now start setting up my own medical scheme? Where does it begin?
You start by having an analysis on what your needs are. Right? And once you've established what your needs are, then we can show you the different product ranges that there are, and there will be a suitable product for you. I think what is also important to know is that there are, within the regulatory environment, there are a number of protections built in for members. And one of the things that we can explore a bit more are things like your chronic medication, and especially PMBs. And PMBs are prescribed minimum benefits, and some of the jargon that members just don't understand. If you'll allow me, conditions that are typically within that are classified as a chronic disease list condition or PMB condition are things that if you don't take your medication, then you will have severe consequences. It's your diabetes, your asthma, your hypertension. So you can see it's medication that you can't live without. As a young person, you know that you don't need much, but you do know that there are certain things that I want to be covered for, you know. So in essence, if you sit with what your family's needs are and you look at that and add your CDL conditions and your PMB conditions that you are covered for, then you've got a wide spectrum of benefits already.
Nice big net, yeah.
Then you start looking at what can I afford, you know, and build onto that. We normally advise that you do speak to a healthcare advisor because they know exactly how to guide you through this whole process.
And they'll also help you get that financial balance with cover, because we all have to live in the real world.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. It really has been enlightening, and it's certainly educated me, but I think the onus is on us as the individual. If you're going to be spending money on something, know what you are doing, get the right kind of knowledge, and get a very helpful partner in the process as well. Elnarie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Graeme.
It's Elnarie joining us from Bestmed Medical Schemes. We'll continue our education in medical schemes here on Expresso. This is where we help you not only get the healthiest body, but the right way to approach your health as well.
I don't mind carrying the extra weight. I think of it as my daily exercise.
Bestmed Medical Scheme. Better living, better life.